The future of Nintendo hardware has never been more mysterious. I mean, it was just 6 years ago when Iwata himself proclaimed that developing for mobile was absolutely not under consideration. Yet here we are. Nintendo's IP is monstrously dominating the mobile marketplace, with Fire Emblem Heroes enjoying an extremely healthy launch, Super Mario Run breaking iOS sales records, and Pokemon Go continually charting as one of the top grossing mobile apps each month, with the 3DS recently surpassing 65 million units sold and the Nintendo Switch launching in a few days. There has never been a better time to play Nintendo games on the go. As excited as I am for the Switch, I couldn't help but think that there may be a few too many cooks in the kitchen. It's somewhat ridiculous and also amazing that in just over a year's time, I'll be able to play Fire Emblem Heroes on my iPhone, Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia on my 3DS, Fire Emblem Warriors on my new 3DS, and a new home console edition of Fire Emblem on my Switch, all portable machines. So what gives? How can Nintendo possibly support so many handheld platforms all at once? For starters, Nintendo has stated that the Switch is not meant to be seen as a portable console, but a home console that you can take with you on the go. What this means exactly is unclear. What is clear is that Nintendo has a plan for how to market the Switch that involves selling it as a home gaming system first and foremost. By doing this, they are able to differentiate the Switch from the 3DS, a console that current president of Nintendo Tatsumi Kimishima does consider a primarily portable system. But the 3DS can't live forever. The Game Boy Advance waited 3 years before finally being supplanted by the DS, and then the 3DS 7 years after that. Keeping with their past cadence, they are due for a handheld replacement sometime between 2017 and 2018. The Switch, which arrives in 2017, won't be it. At least that's what they're going with for now. Nintendo has been adamant at defending their stance, reiterating that the Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo Switch are going to live side by side. It appears that the 3DS has unique characteristics, such as price and gameplay variety, that make it different enough from the Switch to warrant its existence. Kimishima went on to explain that the 3DS is also more kid-friendly, stating that it is a very good system for kids to have as their first system. It may not have started out that way, but the current iteration of the 3DS serves as the perfect entryway into Nintendo's ecosystem. A 2DS costs just $79.99, comes with Mario Kart 7, and is backwards compatible with over 1,000 relatively cheap DS games. The proof is furthered by the marketing profile Nintendo has been building around the two consoles. 3DS enjoyed a handful of ads last holiday season which highlighted parents giving their kids tips on how to play their new console. On the other hand, Switch trailers have been placing a refreshingly low emphasis on children while championing college students and frequent flyers. Even 1-2-Switch seems to be aiming for the young adult party crowd. With all of this in mind, here are the 3 most likely outcomes for the future of the 3DS, listed in order of increasing likelihood. Heads up, speculation warning. Scenario number 1. Nintendo drops the DS line in favor of mobile. Why sell a small, low-cost, lightweight gaming platform as a device to take with you everywhere when most of us already carry our fully capable phones? It's clear that Nintendo has just started to scratch the surface in terms of what is possible within the mobile marketplace, and transitioning all of their current 3DS efforts into mobile projects could spark somewhat of an app revolution. This is one future I would personally rather stay away from, but you can't deny that it checks all the boxes. Apps are cheap, kids already have phones, and bite-sized mobile experiences won't cannibalize software designed for the Switch. Ever since our treasured Italian plumber made his debut on iOS, anything is possible, and anyone looking for a more involved and engaging portable experience, preferably one with buttons, can find what they need on the Switch. What keeps this from having a higher chance of happening is that Nintendo's handheld hardware is nowhere near a state of concern. In fact, Nintendo's portable division has celebrated success after success since the release of the original Game Boy in 1989. Although there's no denying that the market is noticeably getting smaller, the 3DS sits at less than half of the total sales than the original DS. 65 million 3DS consoles sold is nothing to cough at. Scenario number 2. Nintendo releases a new portable console alongside the Switch. This could lead to 2 different scenarios. Either the DS line continues and Nintendo releases something akin to a 4DS, or new hardware is launched that can neither be considered a DS nor a Switch. Launching a new handheld would allow Nintendo to serve that in-between market they are going for, but would come at the cost of having to support 3 separate platforms at once: mobile, handheld, and home. Nintendo's first-party development studios don't seem to be planning for this. Look no further than the Zelda team, whose last handheld iteration was released over 3 years ago. Series producer Eiji Aonuma recently stated in an interview that the development team responsible for The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds would not be phased out because of the Switch, and instead is challenging them to come up with a Zelda title with an evolved style of 2D for the home console. Of course, this is not absolute proof, but if Nintendo were planning to sustain a non-Switch portable device in the near future, we would expect the continued support of the first-party teams previously dedicated to the 3DS. Scenario number 3. Nintendo replaces the 3DS with the Switch. Okay, so hear me out. Nothing is ever set in stone in the world of video games, and although some may consider this lying on Nintendo's behalf, marketing products differently as the times change is a completely valid industry tactic. The 3DS serves a purpose that Nintendo believes the Switch does not account for at launch, but like the 3DS and the DS before it, things change over the course of a console generation. By late 2018, the Switch will likely be cheaper to manufacture, have a wealth of fresh gameplay experiences, and could easily be bundled with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This wouldn't be the first time Nintendo's claimed that a new console would be supported alongside its predecessors and then later changed their minds. The Nintendo DS was supposed to be marketed differently from the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance. By doing so, they called it the third pillar of their hardware lineup and had high hopes of sustaining growth across the 3 separate platforms. However, the release of the DS effectively killed the Game Boy brand on arrival. Game Boy Micro, the final Nintendo handheld to carry the Game Boy branding, released a year before the DS, but failed to meet Nintendo's sales expectations. Iwata would later go on to state that the initial marketing of the DS must have deprived the Micro of its momentum, admitting that they had put more effort on DS, resulting in poorer sales for the tiny machine. The Switch is also ripe with potential when it comes to incremental iterations throughout its lifetime. It's not unreasonable for Nintendo to release a portable-only version of the Switch, which lowers the cost by not having to include a dock, or even detachable Joy-Cons. The modular nature of Nintendo's new home console creates seemingly endless amounts of opportunity when it comes to generational growth, and it is more than reasonable to assume that a future version of the Switch could easily fit the role of its fully portable counterpart. So is history doomed to repeat itself? Does the Switch signal the end for the 3DS and all other future devices named with the dual-screen moniker? We can't be exactly sure. Nintendo is known for being predictably unpredictable, often choosing to wander off in completely different directions than their competitors. What we do know is that Nintendo is in uncharted territory. The unification by the Switch of their handheld and home console divisions is one step closer to the vision of the future that Satoru Iwata had planned out for the company before his passing. Until that future comes into being, we can all enjoy a present where Nintendo experiences have never been more readily available, and that is a very, very good thing. Hey you! Thanks for watching. If you like this, make sure to subscribe for more Nintendo-based content coming up within the upcoming weeks. Also, don't forget that you can check out the written version of this article and all other videos on the channel at freelancenintendo.com.